This is RadioFire.com. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here. Thank you for joining me. Of course, RadioFire.com, the Diamond K Show.com. Jam-packed show tonight, and we're going to get started right after this. So, welcome back. President Trump continues his scam against his own supporters. What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Trump is stuffing donations under $8,000 directly into his pocket instead of using it for his quote unquote election defense. So Trump is still seeking to discredit the election, and he has been hurling baseless voter fraud claims. His teams have been bombarding his supporters with emails begging for money to help pay for the legal challenges as a result of the lies that he is trying to put out there. Well, he is lies that he is putting out there, not lies that he's trying to put out there. Any small dollar donation from Trump's grassroots donors will not be going to any legal fund. No legal expenses at all. The language, the legal jargon in the solicitations that he's been making to his supporters state that you would have to give more than $8,000 before that money would actually go towards a recount account, right? And it's still not even saying that they're going to use it for that. This is just more of the con that Don is putting on his supporters. So they emailed their supporters an official election defense fund and sent them to this website that asked them to sign up for reoccurring donations. Trump is really trying to cash out, but he only has 60, a little bit more than 60 days to finish cashing out as much as he can, claiming that he wants to protect the results and keep fighting even after Election Day. So he's going to give this money to his kids. He's going to give this money to himself. Who knows? What? Maybe Melania's going to take half. The fine print makes it clear that most of the money will go to other priorities, including the RNC. They're going to get some of that. A large portion of the money goes to Save America, which is a Trump PAC, aka a political action committee set up on Monday, earlier this week. And the Republican National Committee, also known as the RNC. So under FEC rules, these groups, both of them, have broad leeway on how they can use the funds. This is why people get upset with politics. You see the games. You see that you want to talk about fraud. You see that the con, all of that. But leadership is trying to cash out on this, and it is just insane. These are the people that are talking about frauds and cons. Before a dollar goes into the recount fund, Save America is stifling money. The RNC is getting part of that too. It's donations to the recount committee are legally limited to $2,800. If a Trump donor gives $500, for instance, $300 of that would go to Trump's Save America PAC, $200 would go to the RNC, and nothing would go to the defense election fund. Meaning, he set this up. He knows that there's no fraud with the election. He knows that Joe Biden's really going to be the president, but he's trying and it's probably going to be successful at stealing more money or siphoning off more money. I'm going to use the word stealing because if people think that it's going towards the election defense fund and it's just paying for another tit job for Ivanka, I mean, that's fraud. That's fraud. Allegedly, tit job. It's important to be upfront with people. If you're just going to put the money in his pocket, why don't he just say that? Half of them will probably give it to him anyway. But the point is this is how he misrepresents things. This is the guy. So the fundraising pitches are going to go up. He's going to probably hit the road and try to, grab up some more money, hit on the road. After he is, kicked out of office, he's going to allegedly start up some type of network to compete with Fox News. That's going to be interesting. And don't expect Trump to go away. We're still going to be hearing from him, I'm sure. His reelection team kicked off 2020 with a lot of money, massive fundraising. They know how to raise money. But the advantage that he had evaporated because the campaign burned through $1.4 billion of the money that they raised in the last 2 years. He may end up actually being a billionaire because of all the money that they have, ravaged from the country in the last 4 years. But he's going to squander that like he does any other amount of money that he makes. It is, I guess you have to support this lavish lifestyle that he lives and et cetera, et cetera. So it is interesting. If this was Joe Biden doing this, oh my goodness, the right would be having a proverbial cow right now. Proverbial cow. So Snell and Wilmer withdraws from the election lawsuit as Trump contests Arizona's results. The largest law firm that is representing Donald Trump, his campaign and allies in this litigation in some key states, has withdrawn from an election lawsuit in Arizona. And so it is interesting as this whole thing begins to unravel. This whole thing is going to unravel. This debacle that Trump is on. He's going to have to show his face at some point in time. He's going to have to come out and speak to this loss that is here. It's clearly a loss. Slowly, these Republicans are going to start to have to put pressure on him at some point in time to come out and, accept the obvious. The obvious is this: Donald Trump is going to be president until the end of January, and then Joe Biden's coming in. Trump lost. And I'm sure that he's upset. He's hurt. But he's remaining silent. And the virus that he claimed was going to magically disappear, that people weren't going to be talking about after Election Day, he's silent while the virus continues to ravage this country. And you're clearly seeing he was in over his head all along. He's disengaged from America, the pandemic. He's just trying to raise money under the guise of an election recount to just put more money in his pocket. I mean, he's fresh off of a loss, right? Everybody takes an L some point in time. Trump, he should not be surprised. He shouldn't be new to this. He's taken a lot of L's over the years. He's taken a lot of L's, right? But many public health experts are worried that Trump's refusal to take some type of an aggressive action on this pandemic, or even coordinate with the incoming President Biden team during these final months are going to only worsen the effects of the virus. I mean, we need to get a handle on this, meaning we need to put some things into place. It's getting worse. And just sitting in the White House and drowning in your sorrows because you lost, you can run again in 2024. It's happened before. Grover Cleveland was president twice, and it wasn't consecutive. It can happen. I hope it doesn't happen with Trump, but it can happen. So he should just stand up and be a man. The White House Coronavirus Task Force, that joke of a committee, held its first post-election meeting earlier this week. Officials discussed the rising case numbers and the promise of a vaccine in development by Pfizer, and they recognized the service of a member of the task force who retired on Monday, right? Pretty much they ain't do nothing. Pretty much. Trump does not want to take part in the task force meetings. Of course, preoccupied with his election loss. And it was a loss. But more than 100,000 newly confirmed cases reported daily for more than a week. And this guy, what is he doing? Absolutely nothing. It's a big problem. He was not equipped for the job, and his silence comes as numerous White House and campaign officials have tested positive for the virus in the last, few days. Another one of them today, Corey Lewandowski, tested positive today. I mean, it just goes on and on. The White House is spreading this around each other. The country, I mean, they can't take care of the White House. Of course, they can't take care of the country. And the president could give a damn. He could give a damn about the staff. He could give a damn about his supporters. He could give a damn about the rest of the country. Yeah, the 74 million people that voted for Joe Biden, and 71 million that voted for him, he could care about none of them. Military, nobody. This Trump term cannot end fast enough. I really fear that the next few months ahead could be worse. The worst. Because America is we're in a storm right now. And the captain is off playing golf. And he can't even play golf good. For all the golfing that he supposedly does, this Bama can't even play golf. I don't know. I don't know. Of course, you're just tuning in to Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. And we're going to have a special guest a little bit later in the program. And let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back with more of the program right after this.
I'm John Ossoff. Truth is, corruption in Washington has infected both parties. They're too busy serving lobbyists to serve us. I'll ban corporate political donations and secret corporate money in politics. And I'll crack down on price gouging by health insurance and drug companies who use that money to buy off Congress. We're all in this together. Together we can end the corruption and make healthcare affordable. Fighting corruption is my job. And that's why I approve this message.
From From the day we started this campaign, we made it a priority to talk to Georgians wherever you live.
So good to see you again. So excited about
Georgia needs a senator who will stand up for health care, who will stand up for Medicare, who will stand up for our children. We need leaders who will not forget who sent them there in the first place.
I think he'll stand up for me. I think he'll stand up for everybody.
Augusta, Savannah, Valdosta, Columbus. They may be miles apart on the map, but the challenges we face are quite the same.
It's not about it's all about the people.
If you elect me to the United States Senator from Georgia, your agenda will be my agenda.
Raphael will practice what he preaches. We're not getting that now.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I approve this message.
Hey, well, I'm going to work hard for you, all right?
Welcome back to the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire. The Senate race in Atlanta, Senate race in Georgia specifically, is heating up. It's going to get dirty. It's going to be ugly. A lot of Democrats are trying to hit Georgia and really engage that Democratic base to come out for the special elections that are in January. Many Republicans are nervous about this, and they're trying to come up with some other conspiracy theories. And it is going to be an ugly race. It's going to be an ugly race. It's going to be a lot of mudslinging on the part of the Republicans. They're already trying to besmirch Raphael Warnock and talking about Jeremiah Wright and bringing up old stuff from, it's an old playbook that they used against President Obama. It did not work, clearly, but it is something that they're doing nonetheless. Also in the news, a Florida man was arrested for
violent at a pro-Trump
for
rally this weekend.
his actions at a pro-Trump rally. And let's take a look at
Well,
this.
hey, Bob. Yeah, Pensacola police just made that arrest. They said they arrested the man that they believe was caught on our cameras pulling that mask off of a counter protester at that rally on Sunday. Now, the suspect is 58-year-old Dan Ditto Jr. He faces a simple battery charge tonight, which is a misdemeanor. Now, tonight we learned that Ditto is the vice chairman for the Escambia County Republican Party. Our cameras were rolling Sunday afternoon when officers say Ditto could be seen getting into an altercation with a counter protester at the rally at the Plaza Ferdinand. Now, Channel 3 obtained an incident report as well, taken that same day, which identified the woman as a local 21-year-old. Now, we are choosing not to.
All right, so you get the gist of it, and so ultimately, what happened is that this guy, upset, Trump supporter, upset for whatever reason at the young lady. I mean, she's 21 years old. And he pulls her mask off during the Trump rally. So he was arrested. He's 58 years old. She's a 21-year-old. So he grabbed her mask, her COVID-19 mask, pulled it off her face. And that was at a Stop the Steal rally in Florida. So she noticed that an unknown white man was being surrounded by Trump supporters, and she walked over toward the crowd, she said, to make sure that the man was safe. And once in the middle of the crowd, she encountered several verbally abusive individuals, it says in the report. The woman said that she observed, people peacefully, she said, voicing their opinions, and things just got out of control. She said she attempted to leave, told the police she was pushed from behind, and she later a white man was later identified, and you saw him on video as well. So he was identified much older than her, and identified as the one who was trying to prevent her from leaving, pushed her, and he used his Trump sign he was holding up, she said, and in response, the woman said she knocked the sign away from her body, and then he grabbed her arm and snatched the mask off her face. Another person at the rally restrained the gentleman. Police investigators used local media footage to verify the woman's account, and he's been arrested. I mean, you know, it's I mean, that's assault. You know, it's really, things are really out of hand when you have some old guy, you know, trying to manhandle you know, some young girl. Let's go to the comment section. All right, so John says we still have 8 more weeks of this nonsense, and also said that the disease should be called the White House virus and not the Chinese virus. I mean, you would think the way that it is spreading around that joint. And also, Trump should just run in 2024. I don't want him to, but he's such a sore loser. I mean, have you ever seen a loser like this? He is a big sore loser, and it's a shame because people think, you know, his supporters think that he's some type of a tough guy, and you know, he's home crying. He's in the house crying about this, you know, and Hillary Clinton may have cried. It's possible, but Donald Trump definitely crying about this. And like I said, it could not be over fast enough for me. So President Obama, former President Obama, is releasing a book, and he ripped President Trump in this new book, A Promised Land. He accuses Trump of exploiting race to appeal to millions of Americans that were spooked by a black man in the White House. Oh, this is going to be one of those books. The book, excerpts of the book obtained by CNN and others, they said that President Obama's assessment of Trump's use of race in his rise to political prominence. Oh, that's true. And I'm glad that he's going there. They said that Barack Obama directly confronts the racist politics of President Trump in the first volume of his post-presidency memoir, bluntly suggesting how he believes his historic election in 2008 opened a wave of bitter and divisive turmoil that fueled Republicans. I mean, I love the way this is sounding. And he talks about the obstructionism and how that ultimately changed the Republican Party. And it goes on. I cannot wait to read this book. Republicans are going to be upset. Trump supporters are going to be upset. Elsewhere in those excerpts, Obama writes that Trump isn't that different from other Republican leaders, but there's one key exception. I mean, it is going to be something else. You know that Trump is going to be in his feelings when this book comes out, and it is dropping November the 17th. A Promised Land by former President Barack Obama. We're looking forward to reading that. Let's do this. Take a quick break, and we're going to come back with more of the program. You're listening to the Diamond K Show here on Radio on Fire, and we will be back after this.
Rules the yeah, man. Knock feeling. The rebirth. J-Funk. You know what I mean? Yeah. Chasing down my goals on the everyday. Hard code from the city where that metal bang. Lost cause seems shit'll never change. Pigs rush, threw them in the mix, never gave a name. You can never know my pain, we in different lanes. Got a 9 to 5, came a long way from dealing cane. I ain't ashamed either. Watching homies turn to foes, how the game treat you, but still the same feature. Legendary, so you know them niggas can't see him. Been hated on since the day a nigga tapped in. The shit they doing, I've been done that shit back when. Play by the rules, old school like a backsman. Acknowledge God when times hard, I gave praise and paved the way from spitting bars to stage plays. Embrace the shade, only made a nigga strong. Got right back to it, it ain't take a nigga long. Just to get some airplay, gotta grease a nigga palm. Always be alarmed, homie, I done seen it all. Been spotted from afar, a reflection of my past life. Twisting weed and raws keep me higher than the gas price. It's in my heart, ain't got a question if he that nice. I risk it all, representing for my family. I risk it all, representing for my family. I risk it all, representing for my family. Homie on the same mode. TMM the only stamp I put my name on. We been hated for some time, that's how the game go. Hollering you the competition, I don't think so. I don't think so. Plotting on my downfall. Mugs broke every time I come around, dog. Only use the negativity to bounce off. Dedicated to the mission, use a clown, dog. If it ain't about $1, I ain't really trying to holler. Don't even know my struggle, homie, started from the bottom. If it's really your problem, it ain't hard for you to find them. Ain't really with the talking, need to come and see about them. Giving shots out to the fam, from Milwaukee to the A. Remo, holla Mac, we gon' put them on display. Give a fuck about these suckers in the roles they betray. We link it all together for those who can relate. Legendary round the globe in places you never know. Activated, steady watching how the fan base grown. Activated, steady watching how the fan base grown. Activated, steady watching how the fan base grown. Homie on that same mode. TMM the only stamp I put my name on. We been hated for some time, that's how the game go. Hollering you the competition, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Hollering you the competition, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. Hollering you the competition, I don't think so. Homie on that same mode. TMM the only stamp I put my name on. We been hated for some time, that's how the game go. Hollering you the competition, I don't think so. Yeah. Nah, I feel it. Nah, I feel what? Nah, I don't think so. Funky ass. Yeah.
I'm John Ossoff. Truth is, corruption in Washington has infected both parties. They're too busy serving lobbyists to serve us. I'll ban corporate political donations and secret corporate money in politics, and I'll crack down on price gouging by health insurance and drug companies who use that money to buy off Congress. We're all in this together. Together we can end the corruption and make healthcare affordable. Fighting corruption is my job, and that's why I approve this message.
From the day we started this campaign, we made it a priority to talk to Georgians wherever you live.
Warnock, so good to see you again.
Thank you so much for doing this. So excited about your campaign.
Georgia needs a senator who will stand up for health care, who will stand up for Medicare, who will stand up for our children. We need leaders who will not forget who sent them there in the first place.
I think he'll stand up for me. We already voted for you. I think he'll stand up for everybody in Georgia.
Augusta, Savannah, Valdosta, Columbus. They may be miles apart on a map, but the challenges we face are quite the same.
We're completely behind you.
Thank you so much for running.
It's not about him. It's all about the people.
If you elect me the next United States Senator from the state of Georgia, your agenda will be my agenda.
Raphael Warnock will practice what he preaches. We're not getting that now.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I approve this message.
Hey, well, I'm going to work hard for you, all right?
And we are back. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here as always. RadioFire.com, the Diamond K Show.com. And as I said, the Georgia special election is going to be something that's intense. It's going down January the 5th. And we're going to be talking more in the days and weeks to come about that and the whole movement to get Democrats out to the polls. I am joined on the line by Kimberly B. Brown. Can you hear me, Kimberly?
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for taking some time to talk with me about some things that you are advocating for. If we can do some background, I know that you're a writer and a producer. Can you talk a little bit about your background in journalism for the listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those that do not know, I am mostly known for working for a number of news entities like Fox and NBC, but I also fell in love with covering the hip hop community. And that started actually in Baltimore while working for the Baltimore Times and working as an editor for Fox. I was coming across a lot of hip hop artists who were about their craft rightfully, and they felt as though the DMV area didn't get enough exposure for the hip hop community. So what started as me genuinely just wanting to have some sort of platform for the hip hop artists led to more of a national platform, which was writing for XXL, and a number of these artists appeared on Sway in the Morning. So that's like one career highlight that I always like to speak about, because it was something that started from a genuine passion and just supportive perspective from wanting to help other talent. From there, I moved on to creating television content. And that was another opportunity that started from meeting a group of dancers who are considered the underground dance world, and just seeing them, I thought they were remarkably talented. I thought they were definitely not receiving the spotlight that they should. And what other way for an artist or a group or a population of individuals to have some sort of spotlight other than having a show about them? So that's really what led the direction of the first television show that I created and wrote and sold to a Viacom network. And it was a very long journey, but it was very fulfilling, and it was definitely worth it. And one of the highlights that I enjoy about being a writer is that I am creative and I get to explore aspects of other people's lives. So where I am now, interestingly, is kind of redeveloping some of those earlier projects and propelling it to the next level.
That is good. That is good. I've read mostly all of the pieces that you're talking about as far as the entertainment piece is very good, and it got a lot of spotlight and attention. And I mean, it was, some people may have said it was controversial. It really sparked conversation and really shined a light on some well-deserved talented artists. And speaking of shining a light, you have some other things that you're advocating, and you want to shine a light on some of those things as well.
Yes, for sure. So what led to me now being within this space of human rights advocacy and speaking out against injustices against women, definitely did not come as something that I planned. I was working on my second television project and unfortunately endured a number of injustices and mistreatment. And I spoke up about it, and I was immediately terminated without explanation or pay. And normally for myself, I am a person who is very adamant about speaking out for others and offering a platform to the voiceless, or as I said earlier, people who I feel platforms are not being spotlighted enough. And for the first time, I am using my own platform to speak out against a number of injustices that have happened to me. And I am certain, and it's obviously factual, that it has happened to other women also. But what is most disturbing to me is that this cycle has been ongoing for decades in terms of professional women of color who obviously have succeeded a career-oriented, and we take legal action against inequality or discrimination or bias mistreatment or harassment or being terminated without pay. And we have to literally fight for the right to stand up for our rights and literally fight for the right to be paid. And I would have never thought prior to being in this situation that it would be so challenging for my voice to be heard before a court system, before law enforcement, before any government agency whose mission is to support women in this particular circumstance. I never in my life would have thought I would have to endure these challenges and fight as much as I have. And I mean, literally, I have had to go back to back with this particular situation. And it's obvious that women's voices are just not being heard.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that it's specifically something that women are facing, or is it more of a corporation versus an individual? Is it that it? Or
yeah, I mean, it's not. If you want to speak specifically to gender discrimination as it pertains to this particular matter, it is women who go through this with that specific entity. Yeah. And of course, if it's one woman taking action, then it would be an individual against an organization. And that is normally the case. It's the one woman who has been terminated or discriminated or retaliated against, and that one woman takes legal action. And then, of course, she is having to battle with an entire organization.
Very difficult
standing up
to
for
do.
her right.
Right, and it's very difficult.
Extremely.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm sorry that you have been enduring this. Have you reached out to other women that have had this kind of a challenge, because you're not the only one that's had a problem with this organization?
In terms of this particular organization, I have attempted to contact a person or two, their legal representation, that is, not them directly,
right.
But I have attempted to reach out to their representation just to have a legitimate conversation of substance and just to get some insight and some background information. And that is pretty much what has been the direction of me communicating with these individuals. But I would also like to add that just as much as I see what another woman may have endured at the hands of this organization, there are a number of other women who have obviously observed and witnessed what I am enduring also. And while I am not looking for people to call and give me a woe is me, I am so sorry, I feel so sorry for you, I am not going to contact people for the support that they're trying to engage from me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So has this matter concluded from the legal standpoints, or are you still seeking something in the situation?
No, it has not concluded. And I will feel comfortable with saying that there were a number of times where I sought to resolve this matter privately. Right. I am, and anyone that knows me know, I am extremely passionate about my craft. I am extremely passionate about my career. I am non-tolerant of situations that interfere with my happiness, that interfere with my progress, that interfere with my growth. And this situation alone has been a huge, huge, huge hindrance in a lot of my progression over the past 3 years. And so have I received justice? No. Has the situation concluded? No. But have I ever tried to resolve this matter privately with the defendant? Yes, I have. Have I attempted to separate myself from certain hate crimes and certain acts in which I have been targeted and attacked? Yes, I have. Have I sought out individuals and entities whom I feel would offer me a platform to rightfully defend myself and rightfully shed light on this subject so that it could conclude, so that it could be resolved? Yes, I have. And still, at this very moment, I have not received the compensation for my work.
So, okay, so justice to you in this matter, is there only one avenue of justice, or could there be another?
In my perspective, I would say justice is being compensated for your job, the job that you was hired to do, which you were passionately doing, you were highly and fully invested in it. To me, that would be justice, to be compensated for my work. Because when we talk about inequality in women, we're talking about women who are being terminated and they're not getting paid for their work, meaning someone else of another gender or even another race in some instances, if they were in my position, they perhaps would have been paid by now. And I have had individuals say to me of other genders and other races that, oh, please, if it was me, I would have been got paid. So I know that this kind of true, that if I or another race, this type of situation would not have played out the way that it did. And I think that is a very unfortunate part, because I think anyone who works, we're working to get paid, right?
Right.
So if you're working to get paid, you're expecting to be compensated. And then if unforeseen circumstances or situations occur within that workspace and you're all of a sudden removed from this position, at the least, you want to be paid.
All right, let me push back a little bit with a question. Okay, if in this particular, in your specific situation, was your project released without you being a part of it?
Was my project released without me being a part of it? Meaning,
like, did they terminate you and try to take your
I believe so. I believe that there has been some underhanded actions taken. I definitely believe there has been some other underhanded actions taken. And I say that because this is the entertainment industry.
Right.
And what a lot of people who may not work in this industry don't understand is that we are the writers, like we are the creative minds behind these big machines. And so while we're not getting paid the top dollar, the big wigs are coming to us for our creativity, for our insight.
True.
And so we're not only at some point, if you're not protected, being taken advantage of, but easily someone can try to steal a project and take it somewhere else and profit off of it. And that is something that happens in the industry.
Definitely.
So I am definitely someone who believes that if you have acted the way that you have towards me, and you have been so persistent in retaliating against me and defaming and slandering my character, then you must be trying to protect something else that you have done, which would have been a compromise to me and a compromise to that project.
Right. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and and you're not saying anything that's not true. I just think that the best success, the best remedy to me is for you to keep on and continue to be successful, and just continue to work your craft. They're not the only game in town. No,
absolutely not. And I want to be very clear that this isn't extremely clear, that this is not about trying to regain any relationship with that entity whatsoever. And I know that communication has been translated a million times. By no circumstance am I looking to rebuild any sort of relationship or go back and try to produce. No, not at all. What this is about, Diamond K, this is about the fact that I was wrongfully terminated without an explanation whatsoever or pay. These individuals, meaning this particular organization, they retaliated against me, and this was ongoing act. So even with me moving forward, quote unquote, so to speak, and pursuing opportunities in other areas, when someone is, or not someone, but when an entity, meaning a group of several individuals, are targeting you, that includes identity theft, that includes cybercrime activities where your accounts are being hacked, and I mean personal and business accounts where you are communicating with new prospective clients and with new prospective networks. So a lot of that information is being compromised. And when individuals are taking information that is a violation of your rights and a violation of your privacy, they are then sharing that information with outside resources who should not be privy to the individuals or the entities or the networks that you are communicating with. And when people have access to that kind of information, that's when you deal with slander, that's when you deal with defamation, that's when you deal with individuals spreading false and malicious information about you to the specific entities whom they know you are communicating with. So while we are obviously clear that I am very much so diligent about pursuing new opportunities and engaging in new relationships, there is also a thing called privacy and respect, where no one should be crossing the boundaries of your separate business matters. And that is something that I want to make very clear, because it's not about just fighting for my right and standing up against this injustice. It's also protecting my platform, protecting my privacy, protecting my right to, and protecting the new opportunities that I am pursuing. And what is very disturbing is we have a court system in the United States of America whose job is to hold entities accountable when they retaliate, when they discriminate, when they instigate any type of hate crimes or inequality against another human being. There's federal laws for hate crimes alone. It's laws against discrimination of any kind. It's laws against retaliation. So when you have a court system whose job, mission is to combat these type of issues, no one should just expect the plaintiff or the witness to just move on when we have a court system who is in place, especially when individuals are filing complaints and filing orders in court. We have a court system that is supposed to hold these entities accountable. And that is why a lot of this behavior gets so ruthless and rambunctious, because these organizations are not being held accountable for their acts. That's why you have cycles and cycles and cycles of women who endure this type of targeting and mistreatment, because the court system is not holding these entities accountable for their acts.
Yeah,
and that's what it's about.
Usually the corporations will have high-powered attorneys, and a lot of this stuff gets buried in what they call legalese, and a whole bunch of legal jargon, and it's a lot of game playing with the words and all of that. So is there a way that people can support you or what you're doing, or how can people be of assistance?
I would definitely say, for one, if you have not read the petition for Attack the Problem, which was something I launched as an outlet for me to express what this journey meant and a lot of the challenges that I have endured, I would definitely say, for starters, read the petition, Attack the Problem. It's on my LinkedIn page, which is Kimberly B. Brown. I post links about it every other day, probably. And then I have a Twitter page, which is KB Brown 80. So the first thing would be read the petition for Attack the Problem. And it's addressing the injustices that myself and women before me have endured when it comes to taking legal action against entities such as the National Basketball Association. And I want to be very clear that I have been very blessed to work in this industry for almost 20 years. I never had any prior lawsuits. I never had any beef. I never had any type of conflict with people. Anyone that knows me or knew anything about me, I was a woman who was solo, always solo, committed to my job, committed to my craft, and very passionate, genuinely passionate about what I do. So for me to take any type of legal action and to stand on that, that is because what took place affected my career in a way that I am still having to reestablish my life from. And another thing that I want to make very, very clear is that when you have to deal with these type of injustices, it does not just affect your professional life. It affects your personal life as well, because we're talking about your livelihood. We're talking about your safety. We're talking about your privacy. We're talking about how false information can place you in further harm and further danger, sometimes unknowingly. And so with supporting this petition, it is important to know that you are not just supporting some empty cause, but this is something where a person had to take courage to actually stand up and do it, because not a lot of people do. And it's unfortunate, but a lot of people don't stand up against this type of injustice. And I think This is why it has happened for so long. And then when someone do finally stand up and say, no, I don't want to take this anymore, we get so much backlash, even not even just from men, from women too. Women who themselves may have been afraid to stand up. You get backlash from women also. And I find that to be very unfortunate, because if you are a woman, especially if you are a woman of color, then you understand how challenging it is that we deal with discrimination by way of race. So to have to deal with it by way of gender is a double challenge.
Absolutely.
And so to actually stand up and say, this is not right what happened to me. This is not right how it continued to happen to me. This is not right how I am still having to deal with this. I think that it's a sign of courage to do it. And it takes courage to be able to continue moving forward in this particular process. But in addition to the Attack the Problem petition, hey, why not follow me on Twitter? Follow me on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions in regards to what my next steps would be in terms of advocating for women's rights, I can definitely offer insight on that. I am working on a second book project, which I am very passionate about, both of the concepts, but I can't really speak on it specifically. But that is another way that individuals can be of support. Just check out the work that I do, the posts that I post, and just know that it's all genuine and it's coming from a real place. And I started out as a writer. A lot of times people who have legitimate careers as writers, we start writing for free. And It took a lot for me to build a portfolio and a career where I was being hired and paid to travel to a certain location. The hotel was paid for, getting daily stipends or daily pay to accommodate me while I'm in these specific places. It took me years to build that kind of reputation and that kind of professional background where people actually sought out my work and paid me for my work. So this was bigger than just not being paid. It's an offense to all I have done to get to where I am.
Absolutely, definitely. I'm going to put links that you've said in the show notes. And anything else you want to say before we get out of here? I really appreciate your time. I'll give you the last word.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it. And I hope everyone realizes that if you don't understand why a person is standing up for their rights, then just be silent, because you don't know how many other women before that one person went through the same situation and did not have the courage to speak up. And you never know who may be watching me fighting for my rights, decide that they want to come forward and fight for their rights also. So to all of the prejudiced people, all of the biased individuals, all of the individuals who are consumed with ignorance and seem to not understand why a woman is fighting for her rights, then please just get out of the way. because there are a number of women who have endured this type of mistreatment, and they are trying to find the courage, they are trying to find a direction to stand up for their rights themselves. And if it's not applying to you, then it's okay. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to like it, but the least you can do is respect it.
Okay, well said. Again, Kimberly B. Brown, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me and our listeners, and definitely much continued success to you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Congratulations on your show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
That was Kimberly B. Brown, and she has a lot of exciting things in her future, and I definitely encourage people to check the links in the show notes and support her if you can. So let's do this. Let's take another break and come back with a few updates in Baltimore. You listen to the Diamond K Show, radioonfire.com.
I'm John Ossoff. Truth is, corruption in Washington has infected both parties. They're too busy serving lobbyists to serve us. I'll ban corporate political donations and secret corporate money in politics. And I'll crack down on price gouging by health insurance and drug companies who use that money to buy off Congress. We're all in this together. Together we can end the corruption and make healthcare affordable. Fighting corruption is my job, and that's why I approve this message.
From the day we started this campaign, we made it a priority to talk to Georgians wherever you live.
Rep Warnock, so good to see you again. Thank you so much for doing this. So excited about your campaign.
Georgia needs a senator who will stand up for health care, who will stand up for Medicare, who will stand up for our children. We need leaders who will not forget who sent them there in the first place.
I think he'll stand up for me. We already voted for you. I think he'll stand up for everybody in Georgia.
Augusta, Savannah, Valdosta, Columbus. They may be miles apart on the map, but the challenges we face are quite the same.
We're completely behind you.
Thank you so much for running.
It's not about him. It's all about the people.
If you elect me the next United States Senator from the state of Georgia, your agenda will be my agenda.
Raphael Warnock will practice what he preaches. We're not getting that now.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I approve this message.
Hey, well, I'm going to work hard for you, all right?
Microsis. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go. People are soft, they really pissing me off. Why would you sit in the dark? This ain't a game, this is survival for life. Bravery, where's your heart? Let them stay mad while you investing in you. They wanna pick you apart. Focus on mastering in everything that you do. Carry that shit like a boss. Walk in the park, Kyrie Irving with the cross. Standing tall, Noah's Ark. We gotta build, buy all your property now. Why everything got a cost? Get on your grind, carry your crown like a king. Show off your powerful queen. Be effective and efficient. Set a goal and a mission. Know-it-alls never listen. Gain your control over who like. I come from what is you like. Yeah, a lot of us used to do wrong. Now we out here trying to do right. Motivation. When he mess up, just replace him. I ain't hesitating, I ain't waiting. Natural force, here she come. Shut it down, I am number one. 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 Read the numbers, is it good, bad, going up, bankrupt? Do you know? Tell me who can you trust? Think about your health, think about people are soft. They really pissing me off. Why would you sit in the dark? This ain't a game, this is survival for life. Bravery, where's your heart? Let them stay mad while you investing in you. They wanna pick you apart. Focus on mastering in everything that you do. Carry that shit like a boss. Walk in the park, Kyrie Irving with the cross. Standing tall, Noah's Ark. We gotta build, buy all your property now. Why everything got a cost? Get on your grind, carry your crown like a king. Show off your powerful queen. Be effective and efficient. Set a goal and a mission. Know-it-alls never listen. Numero uno, they mad cause I won't second guess. I'm the best and I do what I do though. Royal descent, every moment is meant, so I'm making the most under one poppy chulo. Steph Curry from the logo, best buy it like a bogo. Luke Sky, Han Solo, Rebel Alliance. I'm matching you bullet for bullet like Muzzy Manupo. What is the true goal? Purpose and happiness. Watch what you do though. It's worthless attacking it. Hustling backwards, it's too many lacking it. What are you want, man? I got ya big back in it. Divine time, revelation of the lost scribe. For every member of the lost tribe. GPS for those that lost drive. Be the greatest, don't just be alive. Start you a business and get you some stock. Purchase a land, homie, buy out the block. Buy you some homes and leverage the equity. Find you some wealth, but don't lose your integrity. Kevin be living longevity, moving with urgency. Be walking currency, currently winning. I thank you for asking, son. Only way I'm getting checked if I'm catching one.
They really pissing me off. Why would you sit in the dark? This ain't a game. This is survival for life. Bravery, where's your heart? Let them stay mad while you investing in you. They wanna pick you apart. Focus on mastering in everything that you do. Carry that like a boss. Walk in the park. Kyrie Irving with the cross. Standing tall, Noah's Ark. We gotta build. Buy all your property now. Why everything gotta cost? Get on your grind.
And we are back. Yours truly, Diamond K, in here, of course, radioonfire.com, the diamondkshow.com. And if you miss any episodes of the program, you can always see us on demand at Radio on Fire, any program. But the Diamond K Show, 7 p.m. daily. Radio on Fire is a listener-supported radio and podcast network, streaming from our production facilities in Atlanta and Baltimore. And we're able to broadcast programs like the Diamond K Show because of our listeners and some amazing partners. Partners like DLifestyleSecrets.com. Are you a baby boomer? Were you born between 1946 and 1964? More than 71 million Americans are baby boomers. And as they continue to get older and grow, the goal is to stay mobile and experience as few aches and pains as possible. DLifestyleSecrets.com helps you do just that. DLifestyleSecrets.com provides a blueprint to reduce and or eliminate joint pain by teaching its members how to communicate naturally with their bodies. DLifestyleSecrets.com gives baby boomers step-by-step videos and natural recipes, and most importantly, the motivation to re-energize themselves naturally. Visit DLifestyleSecrets.com to join this active community of baby boomers. So the effects of COVID continue and continue. This here on radioonfire.com/news. State courts have postponed jury trials through at least the end of the year. I mean, it is getting crazy and crazy and crazier. So Maryland jury trials are not going to be happening. Remote proceedings will be used as much as possible. I mean, this virus is serious. It is deadly. State courts are returning to phase 3 of court operations. Courts will schedule and hold a broad range of matters, including non-jury trials in district and circuit courts, and attorney disciplinary matters in circuit courts. There will be limited in-person services offered. So the Maryland's federal courts will be closed to the public for at least 2 weeks, starting on Monday. Courthouse clerks will be, the offices will be open to the public, and court activities will proceed with restrictions to allow for distancing. But this is something that we are dealing with, something that we're going to continue to deal with. I don't see things getting back to normal anytime soon, unfortunately. and many sporting events affected by COVID, obviously. It is affecting everything. There's no way that you can not talk about it. It was, in my opinion, one of the single biggest factors in the presidential race was the handling or mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I was talking about sports. The Baltimore Ravens, they have a player that has tested positive. Ravens found out earlier today, according to a news release. And after the diagnosis, the player followed the regulations and began self-quarantining. As of now, there's only one player, so no other players or staff members have been required to isolate, and there weren't any high-risk contacts. That's where things are. The Ravens released a statement, and they said this in the statement: "We were informed this morning that a Ravens player has tested positive for COVID-19. He immediately began to self-quarantine, and our organization is now in the NFL's intensive protocol. There were no high-risk contacts, and no other players or staff members are required to isolate." And they said that they will continue to work closely with the league and their team doctors and trainers. And it's an ongoing thing. Every day there's some new metric, there's some new, the whole coronavirus pandemic not only affecting America, but it's affecting the world. And we cannot just sit back and act like because we are tired, quote unquote, tired of this virus, that the virus is tired of us. Because clearly it is not. Clearly it is not. Your man Diamond K, I will be back here tomorrow, of course. You can always follow me on social media at The Diamond K Show, at Radio on Fire. And I definitely engage in conversation about whatever you want to talk about. Let's do it. I'll be back here at 7 p.m. tomorrow, as I said, anywhere you get podcast or video streams, The Diamond K Show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the share button, hit the like button, and all that. I will see you guys tomorrow.